myself in the morning. Thank you, dear listeners. I'm Alistair, the radio demon, and you're tuning into KLLR 66.6 FM for your news, weather, cuisine, and oldies. Today, I'll be accompanied not by any particular plastic pest, but rather by the compositional magic of Irving Berling, everybody. Let's get our weekend started on the right foot. No offense to any man I know with two left feet, of course. I'm just kidding ya. If you dance like a dead hoofer, you're a bad person, and you ought to feel bad about it. Now, I believe I must start the show off with an apology, dear listeners. It is one of my afterlife's few regrets to leave you on such a sour note. Suspended 7 long years, awaiting the day I once again sweeten the airwaves with my voice, soothing your ears as a drop of nectar from a honeysuckle soothes the throat. I suppose you deserve an explanation for my sudden disappearance. However, that's the unfortunate truth about this world. Most of us don't get what we deserve, and some of us get far too much of it. Anywho, allow me to take the burden of these lonesome years off your plate. After all, I'm positively starved. You'd think my previous whereabouts had nothing sensible to eat at all. Or no one. Alright, darlings, let's dial down the canned laughter, shall we? Unlike some, I don't need anyone to tell me that I'm funny. In fact, I don't need anyone at all. Radio is traditionally a solitary medium at the end of the day, and there's never been anyone to two-step with me as my equal. Not that I wanted anyone to, of course. Back in my heyday, my solo act was the life of the party, and the death of it, too. But let's focus on the present. If your week has been even half as turbulent as mine, I have fantastic news. There'll be torrential acid rain all weekend. Now, city slickers, don't you groan at the forecast. Neutralize that acid with a touch of limestone, and you'll have a real delicacy on your hands. Set out your every pot and pan and enjoy nature's bounty before it evaporates by Monday afternoon. Flood warnings for the entirety of the Styx Delta will begin as soon as our trusty weatherman wakes up from his post-late show cocaine bender. If you're curious on how I predict the rain, well, let's just say the humidity tends to bring out my natural curls. Additionally, the rain should clear the blood mist by mid-morning, though be sure to turn on your fog lights during morning commute. Otherwise, traffic may be bad. Let's quickly recap the biggest stories of the week. The furry convention has finally come around. Expect congestion and long queues around the Pentagram West Convention Hall for the next 2 days, unless you splurge on those ridiculously expensive VIP tickets, or rather, made a deal to tag along with some money bags. However you get there, bring an umbrella. You'll be safe from the rain, though don't anticipate it to deter any maniacs who might sneak a butcher's knife in for a late brunch. Next up, ZZ's new Southside Club is a predictable smash hit with the locals. You can often find them sailing through the air or having been stomped into the pavement. Try not to slip on any fresh innards, though perhaps they ought to be called outards around ZZ. And our final news story, double deaths by electrocution are up 65% this week. Weird. I'll have to remember to ask Vox what's been chewing him. Besides me, of course. Speaking of TV dinners, it's time for my favorite segment, Cannibal Kitchen Corner, the delight of all respectable home cannibal cooks. This here is about 115-channel CRT, sustainably magnet fished out of my studio window. Today, I'll walk y'all through on how to fillet it. Now, I know what you're thinking, dear listener. A CRT may seem perfectly inedible, but never believe your eyes around a television. It's It's a faux pas to acknowledge this, but they're mostly just cephalopods with complex color-bruising cells. Sometimes their screens are quite soft and fun to chew, like skin. And their casings are shells, which are often composed of a modified keratin. Great for boiling in soups to promote hair and nail growth. Unless yours is cartilaginous, of course, then you could use it for croutons instead. Even if not specifically a cephalopod, television demons are almost always fishy, so keep plenty of lemons and cilantro on hand. Unless, if you personally know yours to be on the nuttier side, you might try pairing them with butter or cheese instead. You'll want to approach filleting a TV head similarly to deboning a catfish, or a puppy fish, whichever the case may be. No special tools are necessary, just one sharp knife ought to do the trick. This flesh we're going to collect today is mostly analogous to the eyes and brain, but with many microscopic ribbons of muscle used to manipulate the mouth, all of which combined gives television meat a unique mouthfeel. Seems the hotel's lights are on the fritz. No matter, I can slice and dice these things in the dark by now. I'll show you. First, take your fillet knife into a shallow cut all the way around the screen where the tendons are anchored into the shell. The mouth usually rests under the screen where their mouths are closed, so we'll cut above that for now. Next, take your fillet knife and cut from the upper left corner towards the center. Once you've hit the backbone, do not be afraid to get messy. Shove your forearm as far down as you can reach. Separate that flesh from the backbone all the way to the tail end of your television. We can start from the back and make many delicate slices down the middle of that screen. Slowly carve your way down. It tends to be slippy like squid or octopus. Once you've reached the top of the mouth, just tip the fillet out of the shell. Ta-da! If your cut is fresh, you'll see the long parallel stripes of the chromatophores still shimmering. A very beautiful meat indeed. To finish up, take a little hellfire to crisp up the screen, garnish, and you've got yourself a simple yet elegant meal. If you're on your lonesome, too, I usually find one fillet to be enough for any CRT over 40 inches. Be sure to bury any leftovers under a cool patch of fresh grass. Though, I've personally found televisions to be quite dull when left unattended for a while. It's such a waste of culinary potential. Why not invite someone over to partake in the eating when the eating's good? After all, what truly separates the good meals from the greats is the entertainment. Like I've already said, I'm a solo act and a rather successful one too. But I must admit that life, death, and lunch is always more fun with company. Ooh, you ought to have been there. My deft fingers dancing on the ivory keys as Mimsy kept the booze flowing at a speed and volume which rivaled that of the Mississippi herself, whose levee we'd surely be stumbling along back home. Unless, of course, Mimsy or I took interest in a man. Those parties were the perfect hunting grounds for two young-ish French Quarter fiends. Spirits were high and inhibitions were already 6 feet under. Not that you can bury dead bodies in a swamp, but whatever. You catch my drift. I remember once some old man spilled his wine over a lovely new shirt of mine. And, well, I just had to spill something red on his own nice suit in return. Tit for tat and all that. Sometimes Mimsy and I, we'd end up fighting over the same guy. We both had the same type, you see, rich, often white, ignorant douchebags. Sometimes we'd have to take turns, but she always took first dibs. Which was totally unfair, albeit understandable, I suppose. Yes, Mimsy and I, we've had our disagreements, but we've never stopped respecting each other in a way of our own. And she'd never betray that respect, unlike other acquaintances of mine. If I didn't laugh, I might have cried. With even more laughter. I believe I need a short break. During the commercials, I'll line up some callers. Let's hear what my lovely listeners are up to today. See you after these messages. Hello, line 1. Thank you for waiting. You've called into KLR 66.6 FM. Could you please tell me your name?
Listen.
Let's try that again. Line 2. Lay it on me, Joe.
Oh, Alistair. I've been missing you.
Why, thank you.
I hear you need a new co-host.
Where the devil did you hear I needed a new co-host?
Yeah.
Vox, unfortunately, isn't dead just because he's not stealing my thunder for one weekend. He'll probably drag me out of bed Monday morning saying the same thing he always does. We agreed on a minimum number of podcasts, not a maximum. Which was, admittedly, a rather large oversight on my part.
I'll be the nicest little alligator.
Thank you, but no. I'm perfectly happy on my own.
Just like you, in a way.
Thank you for your input. Please never call again. Usually there's not so many weirdos on the line when Vox is here. Though I suppose when my most deranged fanboy is already in the studio, the lesser besotted fools don't challenge his turf. Never mind though, let's close the lines and read a spot of fan mail instead. Dear Mr. Vox, Dear Alice, much better. What's initially got you in the media of radio? What is your reasoning behind why it is better than video? Sincerely, Bandit. That's a very good question, Bandit. What is it about the radio which calls me to my studio before the previous evening stragglers have found a new hole to double die in? The way I see it, there is no better medium for personal expression or a little public subjugation. That flat-faced number skull depends on hypnotic colors and flashy little headlines to capture your attention. He's not an artiste like me. He's just a calculator, microdosing the masses on sex and fear, making you addicted to giving him your attention, letting him control the narrative, and worst of all, letting him numb you to how painful it all is. Not to mention he plays dirty, using all that mind-bending psychology nonsense. He's the one in desperate need of a psychologist, in my opinion. He thinks he'll just disappear the moment no one is looking, like he's got the cognitive development and emotional maturity of a 2-year-old. Probably because he keeps swapping his brain chip out every 24 months. Not that all the extra processing powers ever helped him find a clue. He probably just uses it to farm crypto or whatever. To answer your question, radio is better because I am better. I'm funnier than his stand-up comedy specials. I'm more interesting than his reality shows. I'm more entertaining than our own damn vodcast. I don't need him the way he needs me. And you know what? I'll prove it.
Holy fuck! What the fuck was that?
Angel, I'd like your help with something, Cher. Catch.
What? Jesus! Whoa. I'm not usually this side of the camera, baby. What gives? I thought your face was made for radio.
Vox let me know that was actually sort of a mean joke at my expense. Besides, if that visually and comedically challenged goof can host a successful video show, I'm an absolute shoo-in.
You and Vox are really fucking toxic, you know that?
So, I take a special interest in charity cases like Charlie and her little hotel. You are all so pathetic, it's adorable.
Haven't you run out of shit to say in the past 100 years? Why do you need 2 vodcasts?
This is not a vodcast. Knowing my weekday co-host, that's already trademarked and copyrighted to the heat death of the universe. No, my epicene insect, this is a tele-radio show.
Tele as in television?
No, as in telephone. The thing in which delivers the internet.
Hey, lucky for yous, the Dial-Up Demon is top 5 of Vox's Jilted ex-business partners.
Perfect. Now, start recording. I'm going to show that newfangled plastic blockhead who's the true king of entertainment.
You mean we, don't ya?
We? You're just an insignificant little whore.
Al, I'm a fucking celebrity, and my time ain't cheap. I ain't shooting this shit for free.
Of course course not. You'll be editing it too.
I gotta eat, you jackass!
Well, I can help you with your finances. As my pay for this month, Vox took me in disguise at the Café du Monde, and we had coffee with beignets.
I'm literally so fucking sorry that happened to you.
Thank you! Café du Monde is so overrated. I swear on Louis Armstrong's grave.
At least give me back all the drugs you confiscated from me.
Ha! Already disposed of.
Ugh. One sec. Got a text from Vox.
He's not allowed to bother me on weekends.
But I suppose he's allowed to bother me, though. He says he'll buy the broadcasting rights to your tele-radio show for 95% of his patron income. All you gotta do is read the sugar daddy names on daytime broadcasts. Oh, you got sugar daddies too?
That's just a stupid thing he calls our patrons. All right, Vox, since you're listening in, I'll let our Patreon be my first official sponsor.
And coffee.
And coffee, naturally.
Call me in 30% of these episodes never reach VoobTube.
Fine, but try not to speak unless spoken to. I'm still a solo act, after all.
Yeah. Most aces I know are.
What was that?
Nothing.
Now, these first sets of names are Vox's sugar daddies, mommies, and other various genders of the parental figures he is sorely lacking in his life. So I'll do my best impression for you. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Thank you to LexiPop398, The Night Queen, Decepticon, Vim, Mystery Box Studios, and Aza Aza for sticking by both the podcast and Al's teleradio show. Stay in your seats because I'll be back to annoying Alistair as soon as demonically possible. And also a positively splendid thank you from me to Ash Hawthorne, Hellish Cadaver, Alice Liddell, Reaper Knight, Alistoria, Wilted Roses, and Creepy Girl, and C for your gracious support of my first solo broadcast.
Subscribe to the Patreon or Coffee so I can get paid, motherfuckers! Isn't there like some sort of patron exclusive episode?
I'll be filming another one of those very soon.
Are you gonna get really freaky with it?
It's not that sort of exclusive.
Relax, babe. I'm a professional. I'll walk you through it.
Oh, great! I traded one lust-addled nymphomaniac for another. Perfect.
Hey, I ain't half as bad as Vox. Did you know he has a list of kinks specific to each of his doodads?
Well, I do now.
Psst. Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. We got some previews of the Patreon exclusive for you. If you like what you see, then mosey on over to the Patreon or Coffee to support the team. It'll be out in a jiffy. Bye.
A killer knows his own when he sees one. Haven't you noticed how our remaining eye is completely devoid of soul?
Typical of you to be scared of vaginas.
He said that if he rescheduled his meeting with Carmilla again, she'd T his C and B, whatever that means.
Cause rubbing tits with the radio demon could do me some favors in this town.
The term is rubbing shoulders.
I said what I said.
The closest thing I have to a cocktail is Sazerac.
Oh, how'd you get that down from Earthside?
Ah, well.
Don't say Vox. Aha! You are letting him in. I may be a dumb whore, but you are gonna fucking regret this. Believe you me.
You're right, you are a dumb whore.
Ha ha ha. When this blows up in your fucking face, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh so fucking hard at what a huge fucking joke you are.
Do you want a glass or not?
Yes, please.